Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back inside the world's worst movie theater. I'd be blowing a streamer right now, but I have a feeling that if I do that, any kind of air in here is going to turn on some kind of gas or something, because I do smell gas in here. And there, I just see somebody on fire right now, so maybe I should go ahead and just get the hell on over with this segment here. Let's continue on with my top 30 worst movies of all time. Number 12 on my list. What's worse than a bad kids movie? How about a bad animated kids movie? Number 12 on my list of my worst movies I've ever seen in my life is the insultingly bad The Nut Job. Some of you may not remember this movie, but man, if you did, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about, because good lord, this movie is unbelievably bad. This is a really terrible movie. You know the company Briarcliff Entertainment, aka the Liam Neeson retirement home, because let's be honest, that's pretty much all he's done since in the last 5 years is movies for that company. None of them have been really that great. Well, guess what? He's in this movie too, and this is made by the same company that would eventually collaborate with Briarcliff Entertainment, Open Road Films. I guess this was their attempt to try to branch out into a I don't know. I guess this was their attempt to branch out into, creating their own animated films, like the Weinstein companies had done, or like there was a bunch of studios that did try to get on the Disney, Pixar, Universal, Warner Brothers bandwagon, and most of them were absolute failures, and this one, boy, oh boy, oh boy. This one is definitely bad. In the film, you have Will Arnett as Surly the Squirrel, who has finally gone too far with his latest caper, and now exiled, Surly and his rat buddies, get it, collective nightmare on the street ends when they discover a nut store to raid. With no other options, she arranges a deal to help in Surly's heist for the colony, even when Surly thoroughly intends to betray it. However, there is more going on with the nut store being a front for bank robbers, while Raccoon, Surly, Buddy, Raccoon, the names in this movie are so cheap. While Raccoon has his own agenda to ensure his own power, in the mayhem to come, Surly finds himself challenged in ways he never expected to discover the real prize to treasure in this adventure. I knew this was going to be bad when I saw it, but good lord, this movie was fucking awful. Let me tell you people something. This movie is so horrendous. This story is stupid. The characters are all horrible. They have terrible personalities. The comedy is horrible. The animation is god-awful. I swear to God, if I have to hear the word nut again in a movie, I'm going to kill myself. Guess how many times the word nut is said in this movie? Seriously, take a wild guess. Over 200 times. 200 times in 86 minutes. Why? Because the word nut is a slang for penis, and that's funny to the creators of this family film, apparently. And if that wasn't bad enough, this film is supposed to take place in the 1950s, and it ends with, I can't believe I'm even saying this, it ends with an animated Psy showing up as the characters dance to Gangnam Style. I am not kidding around. This takes place in the 1950s, and yet they're throwing in something that was already dated in 2014 when this came out. This movie is not only bad, but it's insulting to kids and audiences. Kids and adults, I should say. Especially the adults who were dragged to the theater for this. It grossed over $60 million and it got a sequel that was even worse. Oh my god. Thinking back on it now is just making me so flabbergasted and frustrated. The Nut Job, I don't think I need to say too much more about this one. It's unspeakably awful. This is a movie that is just insulting to no end. It treats kids like they're friggin' idiots. It tortures the audiences. It wastes a pretty solid voice cast that includes Will Arnett, Katherine Heigl, Liam Neeson, Brendan Fraser, and they waste it on pointless bullshit. It rips off so many different animated films and TV shows from the past. One character literally looks like Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, and the sequel literally has a character that's a rip-off of Brain from Pinky and the Brain, like Warner Brothers. Why didn't you sue the filmmakers behind this movie? Honestly, like, this is one of the worst movies I've ever had to sit through, and it's just, like, just avoid this movie, people. Avoid this movie like there's no tomorrow, because, good lord, this movie is so bad. The Nut Job, my 12th worst movie I've ever seen in my life. So there you go. We got through that one pretty quickly, and the next time will be yet another animated film. Like, The Nut Job was bad on its own merits, but this next film I'm going to talk about next week has a personal story in my life when I went to go see this film. If you know what movie I'm talking about, is once you hear the title, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because I've talked about it here on the website before. But if you don't know, tune in next week to find out. But if you want to hear what I had to say about my 13th worst movie of all time, Battleship, please go ahead and hit the previous episode. Check out the last couple of episodes I've done talking about the movies I've talked about as the worst movies I've seen so far. And I'll see you guys next week. So until then, thanks for watching. Take care.